We are all currently in a state of wanting to be treated equally and fairly. No matter profession or status, being treated equally is important. If you've always been treated equally or fairly, one could say you've been treated better. Jane Elliott once asked a crowd of all white people a question. Now I ask you the same question. Would you be happy to be treated the same way society treats black people? If your answer is no, that means you know what's happening and you know you don't want it for yourself. So why will you accept it or allow it to happen to others? The definition of restructure is to organize differently. Function defines as an activity or purpose natural to or intended for a person or thing. Maybe it's time we do things differently than what always seemed to be natural. Especially since opposing minorities was once the rule of thumb. There is currently a campaign slogan that says, "Let's make America great again." Without even bringing race into the discussion, what does great again mean? Do we rather be without the cell phone or the self-parking car? Do we not want the MacBook or American Idols? I hope people realize tax rates were higher in the 80s. If we do go back to 1980, I would like to pay $1.19 for a gallon of gas or $8,000 for a brand new car. I could rack up on $50 Nikes. Pac-Man was pretty fun. Tupac was still alive. Has anybody even asked what was the great that's trying to be gotten again? And who was it great for? I always hear people referring to our founding fathers. No disrespect, but those guys weren't perfect. All that they established sure wasn't perfect. Could you imagine a business or product that never upgrades? As a father, I want my child to be better than me. As a father, I would never force my child to drive the same vehicle I once drove. I want him to drive an up-to-date, more improved vehicle. Our government structure can be considered a vehicle. Imagine yourself at a dealership and you make a request for a green vehicle, but for some reason they will only sell you a black or white one. I don't know if it's just me, but that example is very similar to our elections. I keep hearing people say choose the lesser evil, but I don't want evil at all. What's crazy is during the aftermath of both the killings in St. Paul, Minnesota and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the media were quick to inform you of criminal history. And that history was somehow used to justify the lack of empathy or compassion that was shown by some people. So I ask you, who are you voting for, since clearly we have openly been made aware of criminal activity, bigotry, and prejudice? Why should we have to choose from this when both sides are saying, what's the alternative? Isn't that like grounds for starting the process over? There is a reason why people enjoy the singing show called The Voice. Everything is done on an even playing field. It is just the vocalists and their vocal ability. The challenges that are thrown their way are done in an equal and fair manner. If referees aren't allowed to be paid off in regards to sports, which is a form of entertainment, why do we allow lobbyists to get paid, and this is our livelihood at stake? Why can't campaign money be raised by all individuals involved and be dispersed on an even plane? How can any racial or gender community expect equality when our leadership isn't even determined in an equal manner? Over the years, I've heard some of my white brothers and sisters say they are tired of hearing people of color cry oppression. I can promise you, the people of color are tired of being oppressed. What's more disturbing is the fact my white brothers and sisters are being oppressed right along with minorities, and they don't know it. The definition of oppression is prolonged cruelty or unjust treatment or control. Why should another country even have to worry about going to war with us when they can just watch us die from bad health? We are ranked 33rd healthiest country in the world. I'm tired of reading articles or watching videos of bad practices or finding out our food or water is contaminated with poisons. We live in a time where treatment has become more valuable than prevention. Every year, more than 2 million Americans suffer from serious adverse drug reactions. Chemotherapy was once discovered by poisoning people with mustard gas, and it's FDA approved. We raise money to fight against cancer, and yet we sell and market products that cause cancer. We create programs and commercials to fight obesity, and yet we sell and market products that contain synthetics that lead to obesity. Have you ever stopped to research or read the side effects to some of these prescriptions or over-counter drugs? If a waiter of a restaurant informed you of the list of chemicals inside your food and the side effects, would you still eat there? Right now, the new buzz is about possibly legalizing medical cannabis. My question is, what are the hesitations when synthetic cannabis is currently in our stores? No, I am not advocating cannabis. I'm advocating the destruction of the alternative that is currently legal. Our kids have access to this stuff. They need to make a truth commercial for this stuff. There were 17,000 emergency reports related to synthetic cannabis in 2013. If you compare that to the 469 reports in 2010, then I can only imagine the reports for 2016. 15 people died from synthetic marijuana in the first 6 months of 2015. This is what needs to be taken off of our streets. Like my white brother Bill Bunting said, I just want to fight for my people to think and fight for people to research.